Would you ever skip Halloween with your stepkid for work? I did, and now my fiancé's ex is furious and calling me selfish. IF29 is engaged to my fiancé, M35. My fiancé has a 7-year-old son from a previous relationship. His ex got pregnant on their first date due to a broken condom, and they tried to make it work for the sake of the baby. She eventually left him when their son was 2, and I met my fiancé about a year later. His ex can be very difficult, and my fiancé avoids confrontation because he's terrified of losing time with his son. She constantly threatens to take him to court again and make him pay for it. It took years of court battles for him to even get 50-50 custody. Anyway, his son, his ex doesn't like me to refer to him as stepson or son only by his first name, was with us last night. He was supposed to go trick-or-treating with his dad. I had a Halloween fundraiser party for work that I had to attend, as I was the MC, so I couldn't just cancel last minute. My coworkers and I were also doing a group costume. Golden Girls, I'm tall, so I was Dorothy, so there was no way to back out. My fiancé texted me saying he had to stay longer at work because his boss required it. I told him I couldn't take his son trick-or-treating and asked what I should do. He never replied. I then reached out to his ex, explaining, I know it's not your time, but could you do us a huge favor and take him trick-or-treating? I really can't miss this work event. She said no, stating, it's his time. He should figure something out, and added that she had plans with her new boyfriend and his kids, 9 and 11-year-olds. Next, I texted my best friend, who has 3 kids around my fiancé's son's age, to see if she could help. Her kids have had playdates with him before when he was with us. She said it wouldn't be a problem, so she picked him up, and I headed to the party. My fiancé later picked him up from her house, and his son told him he had a great time trick-or-treating with the other kids. My friend posted a photo of the kids trick-or-treating and tagged me and my fiancé. My fiancé commented, thanking her and her husband for saving the day. Meanwhile, my coworkers tagged me in posts from the company event. My fiancé's ex then lost it. She posted online, accusing us of being selfish and caring more about work than spending time with his son, claiming that I prioritized partying and drinking over being there for him. She even stole one of my tagged photos, saying that if I cared more about partying than taking care of a child, I wasn't ready to be a stepmother or mother. All the comments on her post sided with her, saying I should have canceled because it was just a party. My fiancé told me I did the right thing and that we should just ignore her. But was it a selfish move on my part? Update 1. The fallout from Halloween night has turned into something I never expected. My fiancé's ex didn't just go on a rant online. She actually contacted some of my fiancé's family members to complain about me, claiming I was unfit to be around her son. My fiancé's family, while generally supportive of him, has been caught in the middle of this drama. His mom reached out to me the day after the party, concerned about the accusations being thrown around. She said she had seen the post and told me not to worry about it, but I could hear the hesitance in her voice. It was a rough morning, seeing the online backlash. I didn't sleep well after the party, and scrolling through social media made it worse. Comments ranged from people saying I was a terrible person for abandoning a child to those insisting that my fiancé should be prioritizing his son over anything else, including work functions. Even if I didn't see myself as selfish, it felt like everyone else did. I tried to remind myself that I couldn't control other people's opinions, but it still stung, and I felt completely misunderstood. Later that day, I was talking to my fiancé about it, and he encouraged me to let it go. He said that I was doing my best to help his son have a good time, and that I shouldn't let her comments get to me. I really appreciated his support, but I still couldn't shake off the feeling that this was far from over. Just when I thought the drama had reached its peak, my fiancé received a message from his ex. She wanted to have a meeting to discuss our roles in their son's life. She demanded it, and my fiancé hesitated. I could tell he was worried about what she might say, and honestly, I was too. The next day, I was getting ready for work when my fiancé told me he agreed to meet her. He said she wanted to clear the air about the Halloween incident, but I could see the apprehension in his eyes. I tried to convince him to just let it go, but he insisted that it was important for their co-parenting relationship. After he left for the meeting, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I reached out to my friend who had helped with trick-or-treating, asking her if she'd be willing to sit with me and share her perspective on the night, just to get another opinion on what had happened. She agreed, and we met at a cafe to talk it out. While we were chatting, she mentioned that she saw my fiancé's ex at a park with her new boyfriend and kids last weekend. She said they seemed perfectly happy, and it struck me that maybe the ex was projecting her own insecurities onto me. This was something I hadn't considered before, and it made me think a lot about the situation. Maybe her anger had less to do with me and more to do with how she was feeling about her own choices. It felt like a light bulb moment, and I shared this thought with my friend, who nodded in agreement. She encouraged me to stand my ground and reminded me that I had been a supportive partner. After we finished our drinks, I felt a bit lighter, but the worry still lingered. When my fiancé got home later, I noticed he looked drained. I asked him how the meeting went, and he sighed heavily, saying she was relentless in pushing her narrative. She claimed I was an obstacle to their son's happiness, and it was hard for him to hear. He assured me that he defended me, but the encounter left him feeling defeated. I couldn't shake the feeling of being under attack. What if this meeting turned into a bigger issue? What if she started using my work events against me in court? My mind raced, and I tried to remain calm for my fiancé's sake. I held him close, reminding him that we were in this together. We talked about how to move forward. My fiancé suggested we create a united front. He wanted to meet with her again, but this time with me present, to make it clear that we are a team. I agreed, feeling a mix of anxiety and determination. If she wanted to make things difficult, then we would have to set boundaries. That evening, we discussed how we could frame the conversation. I suggested we could express our intentions to be a positive influence in his son's life, while also standing our ground against her negativity. It felt empowering to have a plan. After a long day, we finally sat down to watch a movie together, allowing ourselves a moment to relax and enjoy each other's company, despite the chaos brewing outside our home. As I sat there, I thought about the challenges ahead, but I also felt a sense of hope. We could face this together, and I believed that our commitment to each other and to his son would ultimately shine through. That night, I made a promise to myself that I wouldn't let the ex's words define my role in our family. I was determined to show her and everyone else that I could be a good partner, friend, and future stepmother, regardless of the obstacles we faced. Update 2. Things escalated faster than I ever expected. After that uncomfortable meeting with my fiancé's ex, I thought we might find some common ground. Instead, it felt like we had entered a whole new level of chaos. The next day, I received a message from my fiancé saying that his ex was spreading rumors about me to their son. Apparently, she told him that I was trying to take his dad away from him and that I didn't care about him. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. When my fiancé told me this, I was in disbelief. How could she stoop so low? I had never done anything to make the boy feel unwanted, and hearing that she was feeding him these lies made me feel sick. My fiancé said he tried to talk to their son and reassure him that I was not a threat, but he seemed confused and upset. The last thing I wanted was to be seen as the villain in this story. We decided that we needed to approach this situation carefully. We planned a family outing, just the three of us, to show his son that we were a team. My fiancé suggested going to an amusement park, a place that always excited his son. I was all for it, hoping that spending a fun day together would help him feel more comfortable with me. The day of the outing, I woke up feeling nervous but hopeful. We packed snacks and games for the car ride, and as we drove, I tried to engage his son in conversation, asking about his favorite rides and what he wanted to do first. At first, he was quiet, clearly unsure of how to interact with me. My fiancé did a great job of encouraging him, reminding him how much fun we would have together. After arriving at the park, I felt a little more at ease. We went straight to the roller coasters, and I could see his eyes light up. After a few rides, I suggested we take a break and grab some ice cream. This seemed to break the ice a bit, and I asked him what his favorite flavor was. As we sat at a picnic table, I shared my own love for mint chocolate chip, and he laughed at how we both enjoyed the same flavors. Slowly, I could see him start to warm up to me. We spent the rest of the day laughing and playing games. I even won him a stuffed animal at one of the carnival games, and he hugged it tight, a small victory that made me feel like I was starting to win him over. However, just as we were about to leave, I got a notification on my phone. It was a message from my friend, who sent me a screenshot of my fiancé's ex's latest social media post. She had shared a photo of their son holding the stuffed animal I had won for him with a caption that read, "New mommy trying too hard to win my son's love. Pathetic." My heart sank as I read it. It was clear she was still trying to manipulate the situation, and I couldn't believe she was dragging their son into this mess. I showed the post to my fiancé, and his face hardened. We decided that enough was enough. I could feel the weight of the situation pressing down on us, but I was determined to not let her dictate how we lived our lives. My fiancé reached out to his ex and asked to meet again, but this time to set clear boundaries. He said that we needed to have a united front for their son's sake, and he was ready to stand up to her. I was proud of him, but I also knew this would be a tough conversation. After a long, tense night filled with anxiety and worry, my fiancé and I came up with a plan for the meeting. We wanted to ensure that it was clear we both loved his son, that I was not a threat, and that we needed to work together, not against each other. We also wanted to emphasize that using their son as a pawn in this conflict was unacceptable. When the day of the meeting arrived, I felt a mix of anticipation and dread. My fiancé and I arrived early to discuss our strategy one last time before his ex showed up. We were nervous, but ready to put our plan into action. When she arrived, the tension in the room was palpable. She immediately launched into her accusations, insisting that I was trying to take her place and that her son didn't want to be around me. My fiancé calmly countered her claims, asserting that we were trying to create a loving environment for their son. He spoke about how we wanted to be a family and that he would never allow her to turn their son against me. I was surprised by his calm demeanor. It was like he transformed into a different person in that moment. He spoke confidently, and I could see the realization dawning on his ex's face that he was not going to back down. Eventually, we found a moment of clarity amid the chaos. I chimed in, expressing my genuine love for their son and how important it was for him to feel secure and loved by both of us. I told her I wanted to build a relationship with him, not to replace her, and I understood how hard it could be to share the responsibilities of parenting. There was a moment of silence, and I felt like I had taken a step forward. However, she was not ready to let go of her anger. The meeting ended without a resolution, and I left feeling both defeated and determined. It became clear to me that this battle was far from over, but I was resolved to prove myself as a loving partner and stepmother. We returned home that night, and as we snuggled on the couch, I felt a renewed sense of hope. We were in this together, and I was ready to fight for our family, no matter how challenging it became.